Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Property Guide on ET Now, your one-stop guide to property investments in India. As always, I thank you for the response you sent in to last week's episode on Chennai and the Jaipur real estate market. If you have any questions regarding buying property, getting a home loan, or even legal advice, feel free to write to us. Our email ID is at the bottom of your screen. propertyguide@et-now.com. Now we have a packed show this week. Right on top, we'll tell you why Mumbai's new business hub of Bandra Kurla complex is also becoming home to luxury development. We'll tell you what's going on in the Lucknow real estate market and if it makes sense for you to consider an investment there. And our experts discuss investment options in Bangalore and the Kolkata markets. All right, joining us today, Ghulam Zia, Executive Director at Knight Frank India. Thank you for coming in. And Karthik Verma joining us in Delhi, co-founder of PropTiger.com. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to have both of you join us in the studio. Now, this week, we're going to take a look at Mumbai's thriving business hub of Bandra Kurla complex. Now, there's been a lot of growth in commercial activity, and as a result, we've seen a fair amount of residential property come up as well. There are quite a few launches, and most of them seem to be in the luxury segment. Let's take a look at the price trends in the BKC location, and we'll come back and talk about it. In a bid to decongest the existing business hub of Nariman Point, the MMRDA created a new commercial growth centre, the Bandra Kurla complex. 4 decades ago, 370 hectares of marshy land were developed to build a new business district. Today, BKC is home to a host of private and government offices, providing over 2 lakh jobs with potential to absorb further growth. Well, the original plan earmarked a very limited portion of land for residential development, but with most senior-level business executives preferring to stay close to their workspaces, the financial hub is now witnessing a spurt of premium residential projects. According to PropTiger.com, home prices in BKC have risen 25% in the last 2 years and are currently trading at an average of 39,601 rupees a square foot. All right, so that was BKC. Ghulam, first tell me this, automatically as soon as there's this much leasing of commercial space and office space, there will be a demand for residential space in that area as well. Tell us what sort of demand you foresee for BKC in maybe the year to come or the next 2 years.
BKC itself had a problem because it was actually planned as more of a business district. So those 2 or 3 of these residential plots have been exception, but except for that, the developments have to come around BKC, and that's what is happening right now. Your point is that this development is coming up more in luxury segment, obviously because the land there is very costly, and because of last so many years nothing has happened in this vicinity. So obviously we will first attack where the returns are maximum, which is obviously high-end luxury development. So whether in BKC where there is this signature island and 2 more such developments happening from one developer's offering, then there are many big developers who already come in Bandra East locality, very reputed developer, right from Kalpataru to Rustomjee to DB Realty and a lot many others. And they all have actually brought in their produce because the BKC is a prime market. And the price segment, since we're talking about it, the extreme high end is 40 to 45,000 rupees a square foot is the range for the properties in BKC, whereas the fringe areas are now trading between say 24,000 rupees a square foot for newly launched developments to the established good developments of say Kalpatarus or Rustomjees, etc., reaching 35,000 rupees a square foot. Those are the fringe locations of BKC. So this is roughly the outlook of the market. In terms of demand, as I said, essentially all of them are focusing on the high-end development, but there is a limitation to how much of it can be absorbed. As we speak, almost about 40% vacancy I can think of in this locality. Almost about 12 to 1500 apartments, in my view, are actually available on the block for sale.
All right, 40% vacancy. Karthik, you come in here. Tell us, for someone who's looking to buy in BKC, whether they're buying it as an investment or they're buying it as an end user, in that bracket, is there room for negotiation with these builders in BKC if we're talking about a 40% vacancy?
Well, whenever you're buying a luxury apartment that costs maybe 6 crores plus, there's always room for negotiation with the builder. There's always room for you to extract certain preferential terms as well as certain customization that you might want on the particular unit. The builder that Ghulam is referring to is a company called Suntech, and they have 3 different developments over there, ranging between 50,000 at the top end to about 45,000 at the kind of bottom end of their range. But there's just not that many units. There's just about 60 to 85 units in each one of their developments. Because of the scarcity, obviously the price is high because the land costs over there are very expensive. The price gets that land price gets reflected in the units that are being sold. But like Ghulam was saying, the vacancy rates there are high. Does that mean that many of these apartments haven't been sold yet? Perhaps so. And at that point in time, you might want to sit across the table from the builder and negotiate a good deal for yourself. But most of these are catering to the CXO level people. They're not meant for your typical white-collar employee. For them to be able to afford a property that costs, in the high single-digit crores or low double-digit crores would be very difficult. Getting a loan on a base salary would also be a little bit of a challenge.
Well, Ghulam, I want to ask you this. You mentioned this in your previous answer. LBS, Sion, Kalina, Kurla, these places have sort of been now loosely defined as BKC or BKC Crossing. Bandra East has also become BKC. For someone who's buying right now, how important is it to consider where the limits of BKC are? If the project is outside of BKC, should they still command that same price? Do these things matter at this point?
In any case, BKC is not going to offer you many options. So you have to actually rely on these fringe localities. And if you're talking about fringe localities, as we're talking about, except for those 3 developments which are part of BKC, the signature developments, everything else is outside BKC. But does it really matter? I really doubt, because it's only like crossing a particular road, going from one end of that road to the other, and getting into non-BKC area where your developments are today happening, and the property prices are perhaps, if I compare it with those 2 or 3 projects of BKC, will be at least 20-25% cheaper than what you have in BKC. So this area has actually improved on residential desirability scale. So even those fringe areas, like whether it is Chembur or Wakola, Kalina we spoke about, all these areas, even Kurla, are really coming up because even infrastructure is improving. We are currently putting up one flyover which will actually cross the Kalanagar junction, which is on the highway of BKC. On the other side, we are right now planning a tunnel which will actually connect you all the way to the Eastern Express Highway. So these are a few of these developments which are happening, and mind you, the Eastern Corridor is already up and running. And as we speak, the Metro Phase 2 is also somewhere on the drawing board. So when all these things actually start happening, then BKC convenience-wise, connectivity-wise will also be connected to so many of these suburbs around BKC, and all of that, for all you know, could be called extension of BKCs.